Hello and welcome to this edition of FYI Weekly, your official source for City of Greensboro news and information. Guilford County approved a Board of Health or BOH rule to address violations to Governor Cooper's Executive Order 176, requiring the use of face coverings and reducing the occupancy limits of most indoor activities. The action became effective in December and remains in effect until it's modified or rescinded. The civil restriction enacted by the BOH rule affects all Guilford County residents. This supersedes the City of Greensboro's emergency declaration for COVID-19 noncompliance enacted in November. That emergency declaration was rescinded, making the city subject to the county BOH rule, authorizing the county to enact a variety of prohibitions and civil penalties as the situation warrants. Residents can report violations to the COVID-19 Enforcement Hotline at 336-373-2064. The primary goal is to achieve voluntary compliance through education. The board also has the option to deploy enforcement officers by using employees designated by the Guilford County Public Health Director, Sheriff, Guilford County Fire Marshal, and County Attorney. Enforcement under the BOH rule is at the sole discretion of the enforcing officer and is subject to immediately issuing civil penalties. A violation is subject to a civil penalty of $300 per violation for a first assessed violation, $400 for a second violation, and $500 for each additional violation by the same responsible party. For violations of restrictions limiting capacity shall be a civil penalty of $100 per person within the facility more than the capacity limits established by the governor's executive order. To review the Guilford County Board of Health rule and all the civil penalties, please visit the county's website. The opportunity for fraud and scams related to COVID-19 testing and vaccines is running rampant, according to the Guilford County Family Justice Center. Residents are encouraged to be vigilant and know the facts to reduce the chance of being a victim. There is no cost to gain early access to the COVID-19 vaccine or to be placed on a waiting list. People will not be going door to door to solicit residents to receive a COVID-19 vaccine or test. As with any offers, do not share your personal or financial information with an unknown person over the phone, through email, or text messages. If you do not know the person offering you a COVID-19 vaccine, such as a doctor or healthcare worker, think twice before accepting it and verify their identity first. For other tips and more COVID-19 information, visit the county's Health and Human Services website or call 336-641-7777. Guilford County reported a drastic rise in COVID-19 cases and a steady climb in the positivity rate following the holidays. As a result, the City of Greensboro is modifying operating hours at some facilities. Public access is Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the immediate future. Reducing the operating hours limits exposure for both residents and city employees. Residents are encouraged to avoid visiting city facilities that require indoor interactions. Instead, the public can use other methods of handling city business, such as by website, phone, email, postal mail, etc. The Greensboro Police Department will also limit its public facilities to the operating hours of 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the public. This will limit GPD substations and headquarters to allow walk-ins during this time. The city's trash and recycling collections will maintain its current operating schedule. The Water Resources and Parks and Recreation departments, along with Workforce Development, will also observe their current schedules. Central Library will offer grab-and-go service Mondays through Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Customers will have 30 minutes to browse and select materials once a day. Access to branch locations is limited to customers with appointments for computer use. Central Library and all branch locations will continue offering non-recreational computer use by appointment only. These are one-hour appointments available Mondays through Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. All library locations will continue to offer curbside pickup service Mondays through Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and weekends from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. For the latest news, vaccine information, and service changes, visit the city's COVID-19 webpage. The city developed a partnership with Cone Health to share a series of brief and informative videos designed to inspire you to make better choices when it comes to healthy living. Following these tips is an easy way to help each of us improve our quality of life. Let's take a moment to check out today's news for your health.
About 75% of women sometime during menopause experience hot flashes. Are you feeling the heat? One of the first things that I hear is, well, what can I do about this? What can I do to minimize the chance that I'll have hot flashes? And I usually start at the beginning of the day. The first thing is that nice hot shower in the morning should probably be more tepid, because many women complain, I can't even get dressed in the morning before I'm breaking out in a sweat. I can't put my makeup on. So start with a much cooler shower. The other thing is, as you're choosing the things that you will wear during the day, choose to dress in layers that you can indeed peel off if you begin to have hot flashes, and then put your sweater back on when that passes and you're feeling more cool. Some of the things that we eat and drink can cause hot flashes, and so if you notice that every time you have a spicy meal, that's a miserable time that evening, then you want to avoid those kinds of foods. And alcohol is a well-known trigger of hot flashes, so you may need to moderate the amount of alcohol that you drink. People wonder about that morning cup of coffee sometimes and whether caffeine is a trigger. For some women, it can be. Exercise, which causes just about everybody to sweat if you are doing it right, can actually minimize hot flashes. Many women, when they're asked whether they're having hot flashes, will say, well, what's that? I try to describe it as a sensation of warmth that can be as little as something that will cause you to wipe your brow, but as significant as something that makes you want to take your sweater off, that can cause your hair to become wet, can cause your clothing to become wet, as if you've just run a mile and then all of a sudden it's gone. And you may actually experience a sense of chill after it's gone. The key is that it's repetitive. It goes away, it comes back. It can happen many times during the day and during the night. Or you may be one of the fortunate women who has only a couple during a day. Once a woman is having some difficulty with hot flashes, one of the main questions I get is, how long is this going to go on? Because if it's going to be a month, well, I can deal with that. But if it's going to be 10 years, maybe I need something to assist me. So usually we think in terms of 7 years as an average, but really women can begin to have hot flashes even before they have the diagnosis of menopause, and it can last as many as 10 or 15 years for some women. There is medication that is designed to address whatever residual symptoms there are. And those medications fall basically into two categories. One is hormones that are designed to give back some of the hormone that women are making too little of to control their symptoms. And one is non-hormonal. A woman should see their doctor at least once a year for a general discussion of their reproductive health. And that visit will include discussions about what is going on in terms of movement out of the reproductive age into menopause, that perimenopausal time frame that can be so disruptive, as well as whether there are any menopausal symptoms that need to be addressed. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope this information has been helpful to you. For more information, visit conehealth.com/menopause. Thank you again. I'm Dr. Vanessa Haygood.
At the beginning of the new year, many people are eager to make a fresh start, especially when it comes to their job. If finding a new job is on your to-do list, don't miss the next career fair. We'll have that story and more news coming up after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. If your New Year's resolution includes looking for a new job, Guilford Works is hosting a virtual career fair. The event will take place from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Thursday, January 28th. This event features Amada Americas Incorporated, which has a 64,000 square foot tech center in High Point. The company is seeking to add 45 to 50 new hires in the following positions: assembler, CNC machinist, painter and logistics material handler, and logistics supervisor. During the virtual career fair, job seekers can apply for jobs, engage with the employer via chat and live video to discuss the available positions, preferred skills, training, hiring, and the interview process. Joyce Rice, business services representative with Guilford Works, said, "We are very excited to be working with Amada and appreciate the impact of filling these positions. We look forward to helping them develop a skilled and sustainable workforce." The City of Greensboro's Office of Workforce Development organizes program services and operations within the Greensboro, High Point, Guilford County Workforce Development Board, commonly referred to as Guilford Works. For event and registration details, visit Guilford Works website. The Water Resources Department has partnered with Guilford County Emergency Management to keep residents better informed about urgent water and sewer system issues. The Guilford Emergency Alert Notification Information System, or Genie, sends critical information directly to residents located within impacted areas. The free service delivers notifications via cell phone, landline, or email and can include alerts related to emergencies such as city water main breaks and other infrastructure failures and boil water advisories. Residents can also opt in for notifications related to natural disasters and other emergencies. Genie is a quick, easy, and effective way to stay informed and stay safe. To register for Genie notifications, please visit the county's website. Greensboro Transit Agency is excited to announce the new operating brand for its longtime paratransit bus service. Access GSO replaces Specialized Community Area Transportation, or SCAT, which has served persons with disabilities since 1992. The Access GSO name was chosen after receiving the most survey responses from riders, drivers, staff, and the Greensboro community. Kevin Elwood, GTA's marketing and communications specialist, says a name change for this vital community service has been several years in the making, as many felt SCAT no longer reflected our current mission and services. Access GSO is more than a name identifier. The new name is an accurate descriptor, giving persons with disabilities important access to education, employment, and other needs beyond medical appointments. The paratransit bus represents a quality of life service. The Access GSO brand takes effect immediately as internal transition began in December. Riders can expect to continue receiving transportation services from SCAT-marked vehicles as the fleet receives updated brand logos within the coming weeks. The associated iRide service will also receive an update to Access GSO. The change of guard at the Greensboro Police Department took place 1 year ago as the city welcomed its new chief of police. Coming up after the break, we'll talk to Chief Brian James about his first year and forecast for public safety. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. Reflecting back on 2020 causes many of us to agree it was a challenging year, to say the least. The same can be said for GPD, having faced a pandemic, several protests, and the highest homicide rate. Joining me now to tell us about how he tackled these challenges during his first year at the helm is Brian James. He is the chief of the Greensboro Police Department. Hello, Chief. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Carla. How are you?
Very well. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah.
So, in the face of all the challenges I just mentioned that took place in your first year as chief, what are some of the key initiatives you enacted since becoming chief of police?
Well, upon entering the job, the first thing I really wanted to do was set the tone really for community and community connections. We started out last year with a series of community events. Unfortunately, it was cut short because of COVID. But we learned a lot of things, not just things about crime or necessarily any complaints about the police department, which of course we do have from time to time, but we also learned that there are a lot of things going on in the community that aren't necessarily in our purview that we can actually solve.
Okay. I remember when you were having the community meetings, and it was nice to see how many people actually came out,
Yeah.
and it was civil and very productive conversations. So it'll be nice when COVID is cleared
Right.
that you can go back to doing that. Now, tell us a little bit about your leadership team and some of the strategic changes that have taken place at GPD.
Well, coming into the job, I was left with only one deputy chief, so I had to make a few big promotions. And in addition to that, I've also had to promote 5 captains during that time. So the leadership team obviously has changed, and as a result of that, we have changed a lot of things within the department.
Wonderful. I'm glad you were able to fill those very key positions, and I'm sure it was nice for folks to feel like there's upward mobility at GPD. So what, if any, adjustments did officers and the overall department make in the face of COVID-19? Just because COVID was happening and many people sheltered in place did not give you the autonomy to keep your officers home.
Well, one thing I'll say is that, as you've already referenced, you can't police from home. I know a lot of people work from home, the police can't do it. The other thing that really has come home for me is that that community connection is the lifeblood of police work. And as it occurred, as the lockdowns first occurred, that really hurt our relationships. It caused disconnection, lack of information flow. So we had to figure out how to retool and how to get officers back out. I mean, there's no snow days in police work, and as we've shown, there's no COVID days either. We have to keep going.
Okay, well, it was nice that you were able to pivot and make that quick adjustment. Now, speaking of adjustments, how did GPD work in terms of responding to the community challenges that we talked about earlier? So you just mentioned how you were still able to keep the workforce intact during COVID, but several protests took place over the summer. What was that like?
It was challenging. Fortunately, we didn't have any serious incidents in Greensboro. We had a number of days where we had to manage protests, which I will say most of which were peaceful. But at the same time, there were a lot of meaningful conversations between the protesters and the police officers. Contrary to some coverage and some things that are said through social media, there was actually a lot of positive contact and conversations that took place. And I think we learned a lot. I think that it's hard to know how deeply affected people are by things that happen in society. And I think it makes you approach the work differently.
Okay. Now, the big number in 2020 was the homicide rate, and it actually surpassed previous years. Can you tell me what steps were taken to address what was happening in 2020, and what can you tell us about the forecast for 2021?
Well, what I'll say first of all about the homicides, we had 61, which was our record. That is deeply concerning to me and one of my highest priorities for this year. During the year, we did enact a violent crime strategy, and we realigned resources to make sure that all of our units were working in conjunction with each other and making sure we were all on the same page. Now, one thing we saw was that because of that, our solvability rate was actually fairly high compared to national average. Right now, as we're looking at it, it was right around 60% solvability. It does not give me great comfort because we had so many homicides. So we have to look at what the systemic issues are. So we're committed to working not only with other law enforcement agencies, but also working with various community partners to address some of the systemic issues, because we understand that in order to really reduce crime and make this a safe community, we have to make sure that we are including everyone that has a stake in this. And I think we can do that. And we've shown we can do it before, and I think we certainly can do it again.
Okay, and that kind of covers my final question about community and what can we as the community do to help you to make Greensboro safe for all residents?
One thing I've told people is that, I grew up here in Greensboro, and we knew everybody on our block and a couple of blocks over. People, and I know you've heard this before, people just don't know each other anymore, even the next door neighbors sometimes. And community is important. It's really tough to have a safe community when you don't know your neighbor. The other part is, look at starting a community watch. The neighborhoods that I have seen in Greensboro that have community watches typically tend to be the safest neighborhoods. If you have a community watch and you have a community resource officer, which we have them assigned to every district in the city, if you have those things in place, you're going to have a safer community because we're going to have better connection with you. You're going to give us information. We're going to give you information that you might not normally have. And we think that just builds safer communities.
Okay, well, Chiefs, we certainly appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to stop by and just kind of share your vision for 2021 and how you hurdled the things in 2020. We appreciate you and your officers for the protection and serving us. So do come back and let us know how some of these initiatives are going and anything new that you've brought online.
Certainly will. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. Stay tuned for some useful information about Greensboro as we tell you something about the city. That's coming up after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. One way to stay informed about decisions that impact our city is by attending or tuning in to City Council meetings at 5:30 p.m. on the first and third Tuesday of the month. The fourth Tuesday is reserved for a meeting as needed. Due to COVID-19, the City Council is meeting virtually. The Greensboro City Council meetings are broadcast right here on GTN. The meetings are also streamed live on the city's website and on Roku. City Council meetings usually take place on Level 2 of the Melvin Municipal Office Building located at 300 West Washington Street. To review the council meeting schedule and agendas, please visit the city's website. Here's an opportunity to learn a little something about the city. The City of Greensboro is partnering with Guilford County to distribute COVID-19 vaccinations within the community. To receive updates from Guilford County Public Health on the status of the vaccines, text GC19 to 888-777. Appointments can be made online at healthyguilford.com or by calling 336-641-7944. Appointments are being accepted for Phase 2, which includes residents age 65 and older. Healthcare workers in Phase 1 should check with their employer to schedule an appointment, as the process for employers is different. The COVID-19 vaccine clinics are available at the following locations: Mount Zion Baptist Church, located at 1301 Alamance Church Road in Greensboro; High Point University Community Center at Oak Hollow Mall on East Chester Drive in High Point; and the Greensboro Coliseum, located at 1921 West Gate City Boulevard in Greensboro. It's important to emphasize Guilford County is not charging for vaccinations regardless of insurance status. Anyone requiring a payment to schedule a vaccination appointment is running a scam. Only those who have scheduled an appointment and received a confirmation should visit the clinic sites. It's important to note walk-ins are not accepted. As you wait for a vaccine, please continue to practice the 3 W's: wear a mask, wash your hands, and wait 6 feet apart. Together, we can reduce the spread of COVID-19. Coming up after the break, we'll showcase our department spotlight, but first we have an important message about COVID-19.
Remember the 3 W's. Wear a cloth face mask covering, wait 6 feet from others, and wash your hands often. By working together, we can adjust to this new normal and continue to save lives.
Welcome back. The City of Greensboro has more than 20 departments and several divisions committed to serving you, our residents and visitors. Let's go behind the scenes in our department spotlight. In celebration of National Engineers Week, residents from Greensboro and 5 other Triad cities will host Bridging the Triad. This is a competition to see who can create the most efficient bridge constructed with popsicle sticks. The Greensboro Parks and Recreation Department will provide free supplies to participants. Supplies can be picked up weekdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Griffin Recreation Center, located at 5301 Hilltop Road. Participants will sign up for a time to compete at the local competition between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Saturday, February 6th at Griffin Recreation Center. Winners from each city will go on to compete in the regional competition in Winston-Salem on Saturday, February 27th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Bridges will be judged based on how much weight they will support divided by the total mass of the structure. The top 3 bridges in each of the youth categories and the first place in the adult category will advance to the regionals. There will also be a prize for the most creative design. Straight ahead on the other side of the break is this week's Way to Go GSO shout out. Stay with us. As we draw to a close, we always want to end on a positive note with our Way to Go GSO shout out. This week's shout out goes to the Greensboro Public Library. The library hosted a series of free online workshops to help job seekers and those wishing to improve their careers. Guest speaker Teddy Burris taught participants how to maximize the benefits of LinkedIn in a job search. Burris is a world-renowned networking strategist, job coach, and business consultant. Way to go, Greensboro Public Library. Please remember, as more places continue to open, wear your face covering, wait 6 feet apart, and wash your hands often. That concludes this edition of FYI Weekly, but you can easily stay connected to the latest city news by linking to us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Alexa users can subscribe to our 5-minute flash briefings, which airs on 90.1 FM. Be sure to download our weekly podcast, Talk City Greensboro, and now GTN is streaming on Roku. For all of us here at the City of Greensboro, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.